Committee, hailing from the great state of Utah, and Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. As Guy pointed out, Gavin Newsom, Governor hairdo, that wasn't even a veil swipe at President Trump. And he has overseen this just absolute disaster, and at every turn they are making it worse. How does this play out? Because they are going to try to guilt the leaders of this nation and Republicans into footing the bill for their mistakes, including their screwed up insurance industry, which was screwed up by the state for almost 40 years. And that's one of the reasons that companies, the insurers, have been not renewing policies.
Well, why should the good people of Utah or Georgia or Iowa or wherever you're from, why should we have to pay for all of it? Now, is there a federal backstop on some? Yes, there's going to be some federal help and assistance. But let's remember that Gavin Newsom has, where he spent his time and efforts. He spent billions upon billions on making sure that, you know, illegal immigrants are here and comfortable and that they have health care and everything. He spent billions on DEI initiatives and doing those types of things. He's on his 20th anniversary of his 10-year plan to get rid of and eradicate homelessness. The legislature, as you mentioned, is spending $20 million to have money to sue Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's on the record, on camera, telling them, you've got to get those waters flowing to Southern California so you can deal with these fires. They had a fire before, and Donald Trump was out there with him and said, you've got to work on the mitigation efforts to do what you do to clean out a forest so that the fuel is minimal, and you got to get the water flowing so that you don't have these types of problems. Donald Trump gave them the playbook, and they chose not to do it.
Jason, this may not be the #1 issue on this story, but we just have to talk about it. I saw your tweet about it today on X. The deputy mayor of Los Angeles, right? So you have the governor and his issues. You've got the mayor who's off on another continent, despite all the warnings and all of that. And since she returned, it's been really a mess, a lot of her press conferences. The second in charge in the city of Los Angeles is on leave because he was raided. His home was raided by the FBI, part of an investigation into him calling in a bomb threat to City Hall in Los Angeles. What the hell is happening in this place?
He was swatting, the allegation is swatting basically City Hall. And his portfolio, if you look very specifically, is in charge of law enforcement and public responses. So the fire department fell under him. And you kind of sit back and say, I wonder why. And look, the people of California better wake up. They elect these people. If they want different results, they're going to have to elect different people. And I was born in Northern California, lived in Southern California. It's a great state, but it's been ruined by the leadership. And the Democrats own this. Their whole thesis, their whole premise is big government is better government. They're the ones that can do and solve everything. And they're just proving time and time again that they have failed. They don't understand the basics of what they should be doing.
The Pacific Palisades Reservoir was offline and empty when the fire started. And now the state's going to probe it. Don't you love that? And the insurance commissioner who is overseeing this absolute insurance disaster where all of these major insurers were basically pulling out of the state has said, put a moratorium on now canceling or not renewing, I said not renewing policies or not writing new insurance in these fire-prone areas. Let's look at that California, because of essentially stringent rules and regulations, they pay 36% less for insurance, home insurance, than the national average. Can you imagine that? Florida, Jason, pays almost 4 times more in home insurance because they have essentially put price caps on insurance and prohibited insurers from using risk modeling to price their premiums in that state for almost 40 some odd years. And now they're going to ask, nobody's without insurance. If you got dropped by your insurer, you had to go to the insurer of last resort at the state. We're not coming in as federal taxpayers and covering people who had the option to get insurance. If you didn't have insurance, that is on you.
Yeah, people should have to learn through these experiences. Look, again, I think there's a federal backstop on some of these experiences, but FEMA, to say for the president, the outgoing president to say, oh, they're going to pay 100% of expenses? You don't think there's going to be waste, fraud, and abuse in that? Are you kidding me?
And did we hear that promise on North Carolina, by the way?
I didn't hear that or see that
After
visit.
Helene?
How about East Palestine? I didn't really see the president get up and get there real quick either.
Curious.
Do you want to get to jobs? All right, let's talk about the jobs report released yet again. And guess what's booming? Government jobs, Jason. Take a look at how many. So, government jobs, government payrolls at the end of 2024, 23.5 million people. And how many people actually go to work, go into the office full time? It's like 6% of government workers. 438,000 more government employees last year, and there were 1.3 million fewer full-time jobs since June of 2023. What does this mean for the overall employment situation? I mean, or basically what we get out of the federal government?
This is one of the root causes of inflation was massive government spending. We're the only ones, per Milton Friedman. You go back and look at him. When we print money, we actually cause the inflationary problems. We have too many people doing too many things. And it's not just the federal government. Each of those states and cities and those counties got to go back and look. You look at the jobs report month after month after month, it's usually in the top three, growth in government. Are your roads doing any better? Is your school operating better? No. Are your checks getting there fast? No. It's just we have too much government.
Jason Chaffetz, good to see you. Kind of a busy week. We are not easing our way into the new year and the news cycle. It's been a lot, but it's really great of you to stop by on a Friday. Thanks for that.
Do you think that President Trump goes out there and sees Gavin Newsom?
Oh, yeah. I think he'll get out there. Donald Trump is a man of action. He likes to be in the fight. And he'll come out and say, I told you so. This is exactly what we talked about. Roll the tape. And
Newsom invited him.
Yeah.
Right? He asked for it. And
he'll come.
Yeah, Trump might just oblige him.
By the way, and all homeowners in this country make up for the mistakes in certain states. And so the people who live elsewhere are already going to bear the burden of the higher costs because that's where the higher costs will be passed on, and history bears that out. I'm just saying that people have the option to get insurance from the insurer of last resort in California, and if they didn't, that's on them. That's not on somebody living in North Dakota.
Sorry, I know we're staying long. I think you'll also go back and say you're going to cooperate with ICE. And you're not going to be getting all these grants without certain requirements that you do
Strings
this, that,
attached.
and the others. Absolutely,
Strings
there
attached.
should be.
That's how you do a power play, and sometimes that's
Part of the deal.
Leadership involves. All right, Jason, appreciate it.